The cellar swung shut. The departed had fallen to the floor at some point, unable to bear the stench of blood. The maid stood behind him, her arms wrapped around his shoulders. The maid's voice was chillingly gentle.
That was quite horrific, wasn't it? Are you feeling unwell, Master?
Feel terrible for her. What does she have to...
Oh my, you're shaking, Master. Fear not. I assure you the beast will not come through that door. I am here for you, and will continue to hold you for as long as you need to settle your nerves.
feel like I'm going to freeze?
Oh dear, you feel like you might freeze in my arms? Am I really that cold? I cannot tell my own temperature.
Doesn't seem to notice. Air of death suspended throughout this house. What about him?
You wish to know what happened to Bestie after that? I could open the door once more and show you. Oh, but I have no intention of knowingly tossing you back into that den of horrors. He lost the rest of his humanity, becoming Holy Beast. But, to tell just a little more of the tale, it is my understanding that an entire village was ravaged shortly thereafter. He was a bewitchingly talented swordsman. Not a single person living in that village could stand up to him. In the woman's memories you saw, he was a gentleman, yes? But even the mildest of men can change. Though personally, I believe that without an element of monstrosity buried somewhere but within, a man cannot become a beast, regardless of what may push him in that direction. Do you follow? Now, tell me, Master, have you remembered anything?
Nothing. It's come back to me.
Oh dear, I was afraid of that.
My apologies.
I am remarkably patient, Maid. I shall accompany you for as long as you require. So do please find your memories. Now, let us head to the next door. The mansion is quite large, so hold to my hand. We would not want to get separated.
The departed and the maid traveled down the dimly lit hall, passing by the mirror once again. The light from the candle in the maid's hand was the only thing that reflected in it. The maid herself did not appear. However, just as the departed was about to avert his eyes, he thought he caught a glimpse of white hair. He heard a voice echo in the darkness. And when he turned to face the mirror again, the glass was the color of obsidian, as if it had been painted over. The voice seemed to be coming from beyond the mirror. The maid did not turn back, evidently having not heard anything. The departed? The departed extended his hand toward the darkness overrunning the mirror. The second his hand brushed against the surface, the tips of his fingers sunk into it. And the next thing the departed realized, his whole world was sinking into darkness. The departed could hear a voice.
Kate? Just go for it.
Okay. I am the witch.
Keep going, Kate.
It's getting foggy. Looks like it might rain. Maybe we should take a little break. You want to keep going? Oh, all right then. This deep in the forest? Thank you very much. You must be tired after such a long journey. This is the mansion I'm looking for, yes? He could have said.
Can we hear Kate?
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, we're good now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll do the lighting in anyway. He could have said something. Oh well. I should get going, I guess. Does no one live here? But if that's the case, then why was I... Such a big door. Please open. It's not locked, I guess. I wonder if the window's open. Darn, not a hint of light. Hello? Is anyone there? Please don't tell me it's actually abandoned. I suppose I can't know without looking around a bit more. What do we have here? Drapes? I see a little light beyond. It's so pretty. It looks like an angel? Why would someone cover this up? It's beautiful. With a little more light, it'd be...
Please do not touch the drapes. Or the windows.
I'm sorry for coming in uninvited. But, I did announce myself. Is this, your mansion?
It is.
Oh, thank goodness. I was afraid it was deserted.
I suspect you would prefer it if the house were abandoned.
Oh, not at all. I would be scared to death staying in this mansion all by myself. I'm sorry. No ill will intended. But I do think it could do with some light. That way you can see where you were walking. And I'm sure this room would look splendid illuminated.
Not necessary. I make do perfectly well as things are.
How can you see when it's so dark?
An abundance of candles and oil for lamps. I'm not in want of means of creating light. It's not your place to criticize my lifestyle. If you need light, you're free to leave. Or you need money? Help yourself to some of the furniture. There's a village not far from here. If for food, you make your way to a larger town.
I'm no longer able to freely return to the city. I cannot go back there. please, don't chase me out.
I see. Do you ask this of me, or of how people refer to this mansion?
They say that a witch lives here.
Not merely a witch.
A cursed witch.
Remain here, you two shall slightly suffer your own destruction.
You're worried for my well-being? Witch or not, my mind is made up.
Which will strike you first, I wonder? Regret or the curse?
You seem to be doing just fine. It's only a tale.
The virtue is real, very much so. It's not a legend nor a fairy tale. The witch?
The witch.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Is it me?
Mallory?
Wait, so is it me?
Kate, maybe?
The witch's name was Morgana.
It's me. What's that? Giselle?
Oh my. What is the matter, Master? Why are you just standing in place? There is nothing there.
The maid did not seem to have seen anything. The departed made to ask her about the scene he had just witnessed.
Master, you look like you've just seen a ghost. What is the matter?
Distorted.
How about a little rest before we move on?
No.
You do not wish to remain here? Still not fond of mirrors?
Still?
Yes, yes. Now let us be off. I too dearly wish for you to return to your old self as soon as possible, Master. If your desire to push onward, then I could hardly be happier. Now, follow me.
The departed followed the maid's lead, returning to the living room. From there, he climbed a set of stairs, his hands sliding through the dust that had settled down on the ebony railing. When he stepped out of sight of the mirror, the maid returned to normal. The departed had been on the verge of remembering something, but he was no longer in a position to be concerned about such things. For the chill in the air within the mansion seemed to have intensified.
Angel.
This is brilliant. Do you have any idea how ridiculous you look right now? Trembling like a scared puppy. Feel like you're going to freeze. In this current state, your soul cannot bear the weight of the tragedies that have taken place here. So go on, lose yourself. I'll be here to play with you.
It's not the maid's voice. Isn't speaking. Something pressing down my chest. It's almost suffocating.
Standing at one end of a long corridor, the departed asked the maid.
When was this mansion?
When was the mansion built? I would imagine you know more about that than me, Master.
Cannot remember. Not a thing.
Oh, yes, I know. You have not yet regained your memories. I was simply teasing you. I have been a servant of this house for many, many years, but the truth is, I do not know everything about it. All I know is that the mansion is cursed, and that it has brought misfortune upon its residents since times of old. I can make a conjecture as to when it began, but I believe you should figure it out for yourself, Master. There is no guarantee my perspective is the correct one. Now, let us proceed.
The departed and the maid traveled down the dimly lit corridor. While the layout of the house was the same as in the eras of the flaxen-haired boy and the beast, the bleak, colorless gloom felt incredibly dreary. On the wall partway down the hall hung a painting.
I feel like I recognize this painting.
The painting, which depicted a beautiful landscape, was oddly entrancing, but the departed did not have time to appreciate the artwork. His hand in the maid's, he passed by the painting. Before long, a door came into sight at the end of the hall.
This door is what I would like to show you next, Master. Listen closely. Do you hear the voices? Lively but rough, energetic but coarse. What lies beyond this door is neither a period of elegance and abundance like the first, nor one of ruin and savagery like the second. Technology and culture had become quite developed. Cameras and photography had been invented. It was a time of great progress and many breakthroughs. And for that reason, those who lived in it were constantly seeking to try new things. The tale I am about to tell you is one of a man who wagered everything on his ambitions. I hope that what you see, Master, will stir something in your heart.
With this, allow me to remember? To remember who I am?
Now, through the door we go. Please, do not let go of my hand.
The maid pushed open the door. Colorful balls bounced around atop a long, dark green table. One man, dressed in black and standing by the billiards table, turned toward the door. The room was inundated with eye-watering cigar smoke, causing the departed to squeeze his eyes shut.
Which voice is she?
Maid, I think.
Okay. That era was a rat race of innovation and development. The smoke was so thick you could hardly see more than a few feet ahead of you. I could compare it to a dense morning fog, but that might give the impression of beauty, and of that there was little to be found in this haze. Do you see the silhouettes of several men in the smoky room? The one in the middle, The one looking in your direction, master, was the present master of the house. His name was Jacopo. And though he dressed in such fine attire, I sincerely doubt he understood how splendid the furnishings left in the mansion truly were. I am a faithful servant of this house, and I would not, for the life of me, dare speak ill of my master. However, this is a time long past. I imagine God would be so kind as to turn a blind eye to a little bit of honesty. I was not terribly fond of my master back then. He had wavy hair the color of over-dried tea leaves, a piercing gaze, an arrogant smile, and he wore a hat that made him look rather haughty. He put his trust only in money, renown, and rank. He loved only the iron and steel that had revolutionized so many industries. He had not the slightest bit of love or care for other people. At the very least, that is what I believed at the time. Take a look around the room, master. Jacopo had remodeled it into a recreation area. A billiards table sat in the center of the room, and the downward-facing lights hanging from the ceiling were special made. The lights shone upon the dark green stand like a stage. Cigars and bourbon-lined glass cases installed in place of bookshelves. The cases were always fully stocked, their contents available to partake of readily. At that particular moment, as he had many times before, Jacopo had invited several friends and acquaintances, and they were entertaining themselves. His wealthy, high-ranking acquaintances had a variety of hair colors, from polished brass to the brown of a baby robin to the color of sunburned wheat. There was also much greater variation in skin tone compared to the visitors and residents of previous eras. But that was hardly any surprise, for the mansion sat upon land inhabited largely by immigrants, the New World.
What's the matter? What are you looking at?
James?
Nothing. I just thought I heard something. I just thought I heard someone say my name.
Ain't no in there. Let's see a ghost.
I don't believe in such nonsense.
Cristina.
It's an old house with a long history. Wouldn't be surprised if it had a ghost or two.
This place gonna be haunted. Take a princess or a bloody broad any day.
Huh, princess, eh? When she showed up, you'd have your way with this ghost, lady, am I right? Tell her me impressed, son, you jump her bones and she don't even get any to jump.
Come on now, it's only fair. What you can't do with a ghost.
My God, are you men or children? This is my house, and I would rather you didn't talk about it like that.
Blood in them for a couple of drugs. That didn't hit nothing.
For the love of God. In any event, whatever happened to the printer you invested in? I haven't heard their name come up in some time.
Ugh, please avoid that topic. It quit the headache for me. They'll pay off, huh?
It always sounded sketchy to me. I'd recommend you pull out unless you want to find yourself with nothing left but a nice, fat pile of debt.
You'd have bet you that beforehand. Ugh, this is killing me.
The men's deep voices resonated in the cloudy room. As they imbibed alcohol and puffed on their cigars, They converse mostly about business and money. Jacopo and the rest of the men were a breed known as investors. You might also call them tacticians. They survived on information attained before anyone else by making swift decisions and having foresight. Though instead of flesh and bone, their soldiers were made of ink and paper. To an outsider, this meeting might appear to be a congregation of friends, but in reality, they were observing one another, gathering information and anything else they could use to get ahead. At times, money and information were exchanged directly. And when they were no longer of financial value to one another, the relationship would pop like a bubble and dissipate into nothing.
But you know, Jacopo, you can't be sure this railroad you're so passionate about is gonna bear fruit neither. You don't even know if it'll get finished.
Unit do connect tracks. Would really be in any shape if you were right? Pipe dream this transcontinental railroad of yours.
Jacopo went silent, but I am certain this is what was going through his head.
You're a bunch of damned imbeciles if you can't see the entire country's put their weight behind this endeavor. This is why you have so much trouble making even a few thousand.
At the time, a great railway was being built across the breadth of the continent. Construction was spearheaded by two large rail companies, in competition for both prestige and a bigger share of this massive national enterprise. The Union Pacific Railroad Company started building from the east, and the Central Pacific Railroad Company from the west. But government bonds alone were not enough to finance the massive undertaking.
By the way, there have been some less than pleasant reports about workers dying on the job for the company HO Central Pacific.
Oh, you mean how to use explosive paths through the mountains? Making quite a bang, they are.
But if this gets to be much bigger of a fix, they're not going to be able to continue construction. You should at least put your money in the more sure bet of the two, the Union Pacific.
It costs you high replacement workers. Keep kicking the bucket, you'll have trouble finding more.
My goodness. And here I thought you all had spines. Think we're gonna run out of workers just because a few ate it? Ha! There's so many we don't even know what to do with them all. There's not a chance that the well will dry up. And if, by some chance, it does, all we have to do is buy up a ship full of blacks or yellows. You won't get anywhere if you spend your time worrying about a few measly laborers. This is an endeavor backed by the entire nation. Their deaths are honorable, in service of their country. The biggest loss is not of the people's lives, but of time. The longer a project takes, the more money it costs, the less profit we make. What we seek is rapid progress, even if the methods to obtain it are messy or deadly.
The other men in the room chuckled uncomfortably at Jacopo's distasteful choice of words. Do you agree with his way of thinking, Master? Perhaps he does have a point. It is necessary to accomplish great things. And it is true that tragedy often lies in the shadows of the splendor of times long past. Furthermore, the way people see the world changes with the times, so I hesitate to criticize him too severely. Now, as I am sure you have already picked up on, he was an investor who had put money into a railroad company. He also possessed several crude oil fineries, riding on the world's second wave of industrial development. The mansion too bustled with life in a way it never had before. Dozens of maids, including me, gardeners, chefs, sculptors, artists. At times, we even had writers coming in and out of the house. There was rarely a moment of silence. However, I was not terribly fond of the hustle and bustle, personally. But please do not get me wrong. I hardly opposed the mansion being cheerful. It was just, how should I put it? The splendor of the time seemed superficial, heartless. It was as though everyone was being rushed along by some unknown, invisible force. Part of it was, I expect, caused by the growing divide between those standing at the top and sitting at the bottom. Or perhaps the mansion was simply taking after its master.
There's no time to waste. Everything is resting upon the success of this project. Whatever it takes, I will ensure it happens. I need more money and more power.
Suddenly, a restrained knock on the door stopped his train of thought. From beyond the door came a woman's voice, gentle as a soft spring breeze.
Lenny,
Pardon me. I've made some tea. May I offer anyone a cup?
When the door opened, in it stood a beautiful woman with pure white hair. It was indeed her. Are you surprised? Or did you anticipate her appearance? Though she was not the same age and dressed differently, the white-haired girl, whom you saw fall into the hands of misfortune in the era of roses and the era of peace, was also present in the era of innovation. Furthermore, she was Jacopo's wife.
Tea? I don't recall asking for that. When were you asked to make it?
I wasn't, but I had these leaves with the most wonderful aroma, and I thought you might enjoy.
Shut your trap and know your place. What do you think we all have these maids for?
hey now. Don't you treat a lady like that. She was just trying to be courteous.
These are my personal affairs. Please keep your comments to yourself.
His friends were unsure how to react, but ultimately, nobody stepped up to stop Jacopo. They merely shrugged, tossing glances at one another. Jacopo stomped over to the white-haired girl. He then grabbed her by the arm and dragged her from the den.
What the hell do you think you're doing? I told you time and time again to stay away from that room unless absolutely necessary.
I'm sorry. But, I made tea and...
Shut up about the tea already. You think we're having tea parties in there with like a bunch of princely nobles?
Sorry.
If you really feel so bad, don't go in there in the first place. Get the hell back to your room.
I meant no harm. Why do we have separate rooms? It's just, I'm your wife. I thought it would be nice if I could do something.
Like I told you, it's not your job. Don't show yourself in front of the other men. I have nothing else to say to you. Got it? Now scram! Sakes alive, first them, now you. It's driving me up the wall. What is it? I told you to get out of here.
Right, but,
Yeah? What?
when will you spend time with me next? It has been some time since we last went out together. But we don't even have to go out. Just having dinner together would...
How many times are you gonna make me repeat myself, you worthless tramp? Are those ears only for show? Go back to your goddamn room!
My apologies.
Looking utterly downtrodden, the white-haired girl made her departure. Such a piteous sight she was. As he watched her go, Jacopo merely snorted. Just thinking about the way he behaved then angers me. I have little fondness for men who do not treat their spouses with respect. So as you can see, the white-haired girl was in hardly a joyous situation. She was devoted to Jacopo and tried to do whatever she could for him, but he not only brushed her aside, he did so in an insulting, deliberately hurtful manner. They were far from picturesque partners. Do you wonder then, Master, why she married him? The answer to that question will come to light in time. For now, let us follow her. Looking down dejectedly at the undrunken tea, the white-haired girl walked alone down the corridor. Though its calming scent filled the air, there was nobody around to have their heart warmed by it. Nor was there anyone to alleviate her loneliness. Despite being the master's wife, the maids who crossed her path in the halls said nary a word to her. As a matter of fact,
Angel.
Oh dear. I beg your pardon, madam.
Fine.
one even bumped into her, stifling a laugh as she trotted off. In all likelihood, she had done it intentionally. The poor white-haired girl, who had fallen to the floor, stared helplessly at the broken cups. The tea she had made for her husband was forming a stain in the carpet. The maid's behavior toward the mistress of the house was absolutely unacceptable. Nonetheless, it was commonplace, all because of the way Jacopo treated her. The more the man of the house acted cruel to her, the less weight her position as his wife held to the servants. Day in and day out, the maids worked busily, offering little opportunity for leisure, so they would naturally have accumulated quite a bit of stress. And she became the target for them to let off this steam. Not directly, but through a more subdued kind of harassment from the shadows. She must have felt quite miserable. I imagine she would have been better off as one of the maids. On the surface, and in front of the others, they showed respect for her as Jacopo's bride, but behind closed doors they acted very much the opposite. The disparity between the treatment she received around the others, the treatment she was supposed to receive at all times, and the way she was actually treated make the abuse that much worse. And furthermore, as you've seen through the other doors, Master, she was a very reserved young woman. She could neither raise her voice in reprimand nor raise her hand in retaliation.
I have to get this cleaned up.
She extended her spindly fingers toward the shards of shattered porcelain. But even the broken cup seemed to have no concern to spare for her. Its shattered edge cut her fingertip when she made to pick it up. A trickle of warm red blood ran across her unearthly white skin. As painful a sight as it was, it had a sort of taboo beauty to it. The blood spilling from her fingers showed no signs of slowing down. She clenched her hand into a fist, let out a sigh, and went back to collecting the shards of porcelain. But when she did...
Ma?
Madam! Madam! What's the matter? Madam, you're bleeding!
While all the other maids ignored her, one came running over, shouting to the white-haired girl's side.
We need to get that cleaned and bandaged up. Oh, you don't need to pick that up. That's not your job, madam.
It's all right, Maria. There's not much to pick up.
It is not at all right? And the rest of you, why are you just standing there? Your boss's wife is on her hands and knees, and you're not even lifting a finger to help her. You disgust me.
Maria, it's fine, really.
Oh, madam. If you weren't so timid, this wouldn't happen. You're allowed to yell at them, you know.
All right, really. It's my fault.
Well, I could just use your normal voice.
Alright. Anyway, we should get that finger taken care of. Let's get you back to your room, okay?
With the broken cups and the spell.
As I said, that's the maid's work. Now come on, let's go.
Okay.
And the rest of you, get this mess cleaned up.
She roared like the wind in a thunderstorm. The other maids stood there dumbfounded, watching as she and the white-haired girl disappeared down the hall. But they were soon frowning and grumbling to one another.
She thinks she can act all high and mighty just because the master is fond of her.
The woman's name was Maria. She was one of the maids. And she was the one person in the mansion the white-haired girl could think of as an ally. Though her husband paid her no mind and the maids made her life miserable, just one person, Maria, treated her with respect and kindness. And I am sure you can readily imagine just how much of a lifesaver that was for her. I too found myself somewhat relieved that Maria was there for her. Being a servant of this house, I was also one of the maids working there at the time. However, I was unable to involve myself to any great degree in her fate. This meant that there was little I could do to assist her, even in times of pain and unpleasantness. The best I could do was pray that Maria would continue to lend the white-haired girl her hand.
And that does it.
Thank you, Maria. You're always such a big help.
No need to thank me. I just did what any good maid should do.
No one else is in the room, you know?
Oh, right. Then I can drop the act. Ugh, just can't get used to talking all stuffy. I'm out there doing my best, but the head maid is still spouting stuff like, "Your manner of speaking is improper for a servant." Every single time we meet. Yeesh, come on, just shove it, would ya? You're a damn creep!
No, you mustn't speak of her like that.
Sorry, slip of the tongue. She just kinda gives me the willies, you know? Speaking of, you dropped the stuffy talk too, madam. Kinda awkward if only one of us is acting casual, you know?
It's normal for me. If I attempted to talk like you, I would freeze up out of nervousness. This is my casual.
Fair enough. Guess that's what happens when you're raised well. I like it though. Has a very regal feel about it.
I don't think my upbringing is the only factor.
But you know, upbringing is important. Worth a whole lot more than money, I'd say.
I suppose. Thank you, Maria. You're always so compassionate.
You betcha. They don't call me the Virgin Mary for nothing. I practically bleed compassion.
You know, that might be true. You very well could be the reincarnation of the Mother of God.
No. You were supposed to laugh at that. It's just embarrassing if you take it seriously.
Alone in the white-haired girl's room, Marie was acting much more friendly and relaxed as they conversed, as opposed to her no-nonsense attitude in the hallway. The two women were, as you can see, quite close. They had crossed over the wall separating master from servant and built a bond of friendship. And at some point, they had begun to speak frankly with one another when no one else was around. Maria was the only person to mention around whom the white-haired girl felt comfortable being open. I imagine she very much enjoyed these moments of conversation. You wish to know who the head maid was? My. Are you sure you want to ask me that, master? Some questions are better left unasked, for your own good.
I have to say, madam, you have the prettiest fingers. Mine are all rough and dry and nasty.
You think so? Mine haven't the slightest bit of muscle. They're about as frail as dead branches.
Oh, who needs beefy mitts anyway?
I still think healthy-looking hands like yours are far more attractive.
What? What's to like about these things? Women all over the world dream of having hands like yours. Oh, I was muted. I did it. Muted. Wow. Sorry. Slender, feminine, and perfectly cared for. I don't know. Just looking at him lights a fire in my loins. Makes me want to lick every last one of them. Actually, say, can I lick them? Can I run my tongue up and down all 10 of those sweet little digits? Come on, can I? What'd you say?
Stop that, Maria. Seriously.
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Maria.
Right. How did those tea leaves turn out, madam? The ones you imported? All the maids just adore it. They can't get enough of that aroma. I'd sure like to get a taste of it. If you end up with extra, you think you could spare a sip for me?
That was, what was in the cups I dropped?
What? Really? Well, ain't that a crying shame? And Jacopo wouldn't have any of it? God, why does that man have such a stick up his ass? You went through all the trouble of making it for him, and...
He was busy. It's not his fault.
Busy? You mean playing billiards, drinking bourbon, and puffing a damn cigar?
It may look to us like they are just making small talk, but I'm certain their meeting has some importance to their business. It was imprudent of me to try to step in to the men's world.
That's just not right. I mean, you're his wife! Why shouldn't you be allowed into the room?
It doesn't bother me.
You don't have to pretend.
Here's an idea. How would you like to have some of that tea now? We also have some which you like so much. And a scoop of that, and a tray of cookies, and we have the perfect tea time.
You're singing the siren song, madam. But you really should be doing that with him.
He would not have tea. I suspect he does not like it. I don't want it to go to waste, so...
Madam, I know it's none of my business, and I have no place at all saying this, but it's not impossible for a woman to file a divorce these days. You don't have to sit down and take it, not one bit. You're pretty, well-educated, and still young. There's hope even if you do leave him. There are plenty of other men out there. You aren't obligated to stick with that arrogant jerk, to put it nicely.
He's just very busy right now.
There you go again!
There was a time when he was kind.
Huh?
He wasn't like this when we first met. Back then, he was a little awkward, but a kind man.
Him! A kind man!
Yes, believe it or not. There was indeed a time. Say, Maria, would you mind giving me a little bit more of your time? I'll make some tea and we can talk.
Alright. If you're telling me about when Jacopo was decent, I'm all ears.
Indeed. As I'm sure you're aware, our parents arranged our marriage. Before I emigrated to this country to be married, I lived as a misty island nation. Portraits of my ancestors hung in the house where I lived. I remember as a child wincing in fear at the sight of them staring down at me. My mother and father were constantly telling me to show them respect, as if it was their hard work that kept our bloodline alive and well. However, they were fighting an uphill battle to do the same. It would have been clear to anyone reasonably perceptive that our house was coming tumbling down. Valuable furniture and paintings slowly disappeared, and eventually the portraits were gone too. And our house collapsed. So too did my parents' health deteriorate, robbing us of any source of income. And though I was educated, I lacked the skills necessary to obtain work. Just as we were about to run out of money and options, my parents received Jacopo's parents' marriage proposition. Both of their families stood to benefit from the arrangement. I had social status, and he had wealth. We each had what the other lacked. One needs more than money to make it in the world. Without at least a semi-reputable name attached to you, you're liable to get laughed out of most social gatherings. I first met Jacopo here in this country.
I think it's Jacopo, right? Was that what Cristina said?
Okay, I first met Jacopo. Did I say it right?
Cristina, are you there?
I remember we had this conversation the first time too.
I think we did too. Let's just stick to
I can't remember. Okay. I first met Jacopo here in this country. We didn't even know what the other looked like until our wedding day. To be quite honest, I was scared to death at first. I was so nervous. What kind of man would he be? Was I to be wed to some middle-aged stranger? We were not marrying because we had fallen in love like a normal couple. I knew I was in no position to be concerned with such things, but when I thought about our future, I shook with fear. The man I saw through my veil at the wedding was remarkable. He was young, had strong masculine eyes, and at the same time, he too appeared nervous. He was shaking as much, no more than me. Seeing that, the priest gave an impish little smirk when he asked Jacopo if he vowed his eternal love to me. I counted myself among the happy, and I still do. At that moment, I experienced true love. You wanted to hear about when he was kind to me? Well, after the wedding, we were given a week to ourselves. Suppose you could call it a honeymoon, but we didn't take a trip overseas, or even go very far at all. He looked at me with uncertainty and asked,
Where would you like to go?
I beg your pardon?
That's what this week is for, right? I'll consider granting your request, so tell me where you want to go.
This is also sudden.
Nothing? Well, this whole engagement was a spur of the moment. Normally, we would have planned a trip in advance. But unfortunately, our purpose is served so long as we act the part. You must be disappointed that you have to plan your honeymoon as it's happening.
No,
What? Speak clearly. I don't like it when people don't speak their mind.
I'm sorry. But I'm happy. Even if this is a political marriage.
Well, you're quite the positive thinker. Your parents say something to make you think this way? Well, either way, if you're so glad to be in this arrangement, Then hurry up and decide on a destination. Though there is a limit to how far we can go. If you want to take a trip, I'll consider it. What? Something funny?
It just seemed comical to me that our honeymoon has begun and we're only now deciding where we want to go. Not in a good way, though. I'm glad our parents didn't arrange everything for us. Perhaps you've heard, but I'm quite sensitive to sunlight and not in the best of health. So it would be rather trying for me to spend a full week out in the house. We couldn't go on a trip, but if it's not too much trouble.
Speak up.
Could you show me around town? I'm new to this country and unfamiliar with its customs. And I'm rather afraid to go wandering around on my own.
Show you around.
Yes. Would that be possible?
On a rare bit of time off, you ask me to show you around town? Is that really the most exciting idea you have?
I'm sorry. If, there's somewhere you would like to go, I'm fine with that. I will accompany you anywhere.
As if I could drag someone who just professed to being sickly all over the country. My God. I've lost all interest in a trip. Hello? What are you doing? Go get ready. Now.
I beg your pardon?
Didn't you want to see the town?
You will show me around?
You're the one who asked. Not like I have any other options, so, yeah, I'll show you around.
Thank you.
Just don't stand there, you dullard. Get a move on.
One moment. Wait for me, please.
He hurriedly climbed into the carriage he had called for, a look of frustrated displeasure on his face. And then, as if he had forgotten about...
And then, as if he had forgotten about me until that moment, he returned, grabbed me by the arm, and led me to the carriage. In retrospect, I realized he was not being very gentlemanly. But I was pleased that he was making any attempt to interact with me at all. As the carriage trotted down the streets, I saw so many new things. I'd spent most of my time cooped up inside at home, so it was like stepping into an entirely new world. And add to that the rapid industrial advancement currently taking place. I saw men shouting back and forth as they smacked newspaper articles with the backs of their hands. I saw corner cafes crowded with cigar-smoking men on break from work. It was like the hustle and bustle of a festival. But every festival has its underside. I also saw overworked men looking like they were on the verge of collapse, drinking water from a spigot on the side of the road. By way of contrast, I wore fine clothing and had a carriage at my disposal. I imagine every day was a struggle for them just to remain afloat. Had I not married the man I had, I too might have found myself on the streets in a similar situation. But it was not relief that spread through my breast at the sight of them. It was pains of guilt. It felt to me like a life of opulence was wrong, sinful. It broke my heart to know that I was living so much better than them. Jacopo snorted disapprovingly at me, seemingly reading my mind, and then said,
The poor man who envies the rich, covets his wealth, and finds the ambition to make the same for himself, and the rich man who pities the poor, thinking that his duty to give them the offerings of philanthropy. For me, the latter is the far more nefarious. Excessive charity will ruin a man, and make him come to expect handouts. And then there are those with the wrong idea of pity, who let themselves fall down to the same place, mistakenly believing it will somehow make the poor feel better. What a joke. If you're going to do anything for them, you might as well encourage them to climb upward. Spur on economic growth and the flow of capital. Doesn't that sound like the better option?
I say nothing, simply smiling and giving an ambiguous nod. He had a point. My sympathy and guilt meant nothing to people actually experiencing hardship. If feeling guilty of my own fortune, I acted upon that pity in the way he had described, it would accomplish little more than self-satisfaction. He seemed to have seen straight through my very core. This was a man who had built his own fortune through investment, which I imagine required him to be rather astute. But doesn't a world where everyone is constantly trying to climb higher and higher sound rather exhausting? I personally would prefer to be in a position where I could watch, if only at a distance, as others climbed. But obviously, I could not say as much to him. Some time later, the carriage came to a stop in front of a shop. As I looked at the building perplexedly, how do you pronounce that word?
Did it right, perplexedly.
Yeah, perplexedly. It's a tongue twister.
Okay, I'm not the only one. Okay, I feel bad. As I looked at the building perplexedly, he gestured to the door with his chin, me to get at. Lost and confused, I stepped down from the carriage, and before me spread a showcase behind a large glass window. However, lined up in the case were not precious metals or expensive clothing, but machines. At first, I had no idea what kind of devices they were.
Have you never had your photo taken before?
No, I haven't. I have had a portrait painted, though. Are these machines for taking photographs?
A portrait, eh? Why am I not surprised?
I did not mean to boast.
Go on, get in.
Please, wait for me. The owner came out to greet us with a wide smile as we entered the shop.
Well, this ain't the strangest thing I've seen all day. You bringing a lady. Ooh, look at that. Where on earth you catch this pretty little thing?
She's my wife.
Huh. Well, I beg your pardon. A monkey's uncle. Goes to show you never know where the cards may fall.
You make it sound like my getting married is some kind of miracle.
I saw you as one to choose money over love, sir. Oh, pardon me. It's inappropriate to say in front of your wife.
Do you often come to this shop?
On occasion, I need some things from here time to time.
I see.
There you go, smirking again. What's so funny?
We're going to have our photo taken, yeah? I'm so nervous and excited. I've never had one before. And to have it taken side by side with you.
What are you talking about?
Pardon?
who said we were getting our pictures taken. And side by side? Please. You're sending shivers down my spine.
But this is a photography shop.
Hey, shopkeep. Product I contacted you about. Is it ready?
Yeah. Sit tight. I'll be right out.
You take a seat. There's a chair over there.
What?
I'm gonna show you something much more exciting than sitting still and waiting in front of a camera lens.
Oh?
Just do as I say.
Okay. I sat down in front of a large mirror, which I presume was normally used to check your appearance before having your picture taken. Sitting before a mirror with someone else present was quite nerve-wracking. Out of embarrassment, I dropped my gaze to my knee. But when Jacopo returned, I was entranced. Jacopo? Okay. Jacopo returned. I was entranced by the curious object in his hands.
That's right, Cristina? Jacopo?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay. What is this?
Do you know what persistence of vision is? The human eye does not perceive the world 100% accurately. This is especially true for objects in motion. It remembers images for a short time, so if you put a new image in the same place, your eye perceives it in motion. Seeing for yourself will be faster than explaining it. You see the slits in the disc? Look through the bottom one and into the mirror.
Okay.
Good. Just like that. Bring your head in close. Here goes.
Standing behind me, he slid his finger across the top of the peculiar toy, causing it to spin gracefully. And then,
So, what do you see?
they're dancing. A man and women are dancing.
Sounds like you're not having any trouble seeing it. Are they dancing well?
Yes, they are. It's the most adorable thing.
What? Adorable? That's funny. I asked to have it modeled after a ballroom dance.
Yes, it's a very elegant dance. But you see, they're small, like little dwarves, which I thought was kind of cute. Seems so close, going around and around without ever letting go of each other's hands. This is incredible. Why does it look like they're dancing? They were all lined up in a row just a few moments ago.
Goodness. I just explained it to you. It's playing a trick on your eyes. What you're seeing is lots of different pictures in a short period of time. To put it in words you might understand better, it's an illusion. Your eyes are being fooled into thinking the image is moving.
An illusion. But they're dancing. They really are. And they look like they're having a wonderful time. And you sure it's an illusion and not something else? To me, it does not seem to be. I cannot see it as anything but two tiny people dancing.
That's how it works. Reach out your hand and try to grab him. You won't be able to.
You're right. That's a shame.
I didn't think you actually would.
But it's the most precious thing. They look as though they're dancing atop my palm. I was mesmerized by the strange phenomena. Pictures were moving after all. Still images had begun dancing before me. It was almost as if God had breathed life into them. He had called it an illusion, but I could not grasp that. It was such an adorable, heartwarming sight. I imagined the two were off living in some other world, separate from our own. They looked so happy. I was almost certain that they were off dancing in their joyous world, free from all the sorrow and loneliness and pain of this one. Eventually, the speed at which they danced began to slow, as if they were resting their legs. I almost thought I could hear the sound of their feet with each step. And they've stopped.
They can dance forever. They don't get tired.
You see, I'm amazed how such an incredible device exists in this world. It makes me wish I had gone outside sooner.
I'm sure someone from a distinguished house as yours has seen plenty of amazing things with your family.
Hardly. I rarely ever left the house. I'm ignorant about the ways of the world. If you had not told me, I would have probably never known about moving pictures. The illusion of moving pictures.
Do you like it?
Yes, of course.
More than the portrait you had painted?
Yes. Yes, I do. The painting was wonderful too, but
You can't seem to make up your mind. Go on, tell me. Which do you like better? The portrait or this?
I like this better.
I see.
He looks somewhat pleased.
Though, when it comes down to it, this is a simple trick only a child would fall for.
And I suppose that makes me a child. If it means I get to watch something as splendid as two tiny people dancing, I'll happily fall through the trick.
Describing it as two tiny people dancing. You're going to lose your head that far up in the clouds.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do not know how else to describe it, though.
It's a toy called a
Phenakistoscope.
phenakistoscope. Thank you.
Phenakistoscope?
Phenakistoscope.
Wheel.
Close enough. It was invented around 30 years ago. I had the shopkeep make one modeled after the original design.
So the shop owner drew this?
He did? A lot better than you'd expect, isn't he?
Yes, indeed. I am surprised he could draw something so cute.
Say that to his face and he'll go red as a beet. What I'd give to get a load of that. You should tell him the next time you see him.
He's a sweet man.
Despite how he looks, you mean.
It's not right to judge people based on their appearance.
Ha! I'm just kidding. Don't take it too seriously. The shopkeep here loves new technology. The phenakistoscope is one such invention that caught his eye. You can trick the eye into thinking drawings are moving. Using a sequence of photos, you can perhaps make it seem as though real people are moving too. And if it becomes possible to show those images to many people at once, these developments could broaden the options artists have to express themselves.
Not drawings, but photographs?
Yeah, photos. By taking hundreds or perhaps thousands of photographs, it would be possible to reproduce the world as we see it. This room, people walking down the streets. There's no point in recording boring everyday life, though. If you're gonna leave a record of anything behind, it should be the projects and enterprises that move nations. Say, for example, a moving record of the opening ceremony of the railroad. That would be something worth watching. And then, in time, it would expand beyond a mere record-keeping technology and find its way into the hands of artists.
Is such a thing possible? You must remain still for a long time just to take a single photograph.
Right now it isn't. But eventually, it will be. And I'm not simply fantasizing here.
Is that so? It sounds so very futuristic. Do
What?
you want to support people who work on that sort of thing? Is that why you were friends with the owner?
Nothing to do with my wants. I merely think there's money in it. The rich starve for entertainment, and artists create that entertainment. I have no interest in their pretentious self-expression. I just want their money. What? What's so funny?
You look like you're enjoying yourself.
Honestly, it's just about the money.
As you say.
Alright, let's get moving. Next is dinner.
What? We're leaving already?
Does that displease you?
No. Not at all. To tell you the truth, I wanted to spend a little more time playing with the Thanakis wheel, but I could not bring myself to say as much. Reluctantly, I approached the owner to return the wheel.
Don't bother. Bring it with you.
What? But
If you don't want it, that's fine too. Just make your decision quickly. You're making the driver wait.
having said that, Jacopo exited the shop. Jacopo exited the shop. I altered between looking at his back and Nikki's wheel, debating what I wanted to do. And then, with a smile, the owner whispered to me,
You're allowed to keep it. Really. Your husband's out there. He does good for you.
"For me?"
A little while back, he came to my shop asking if I could make a phenakistoscope. Not that about knocked me out of my chair. These men almost never ask for favors. Damn Bruce got a sharp tongue enough to cut steel, but he's not wicked to his core. Where? Please, man, need pillar support for him.
In that moment, the Thanakis wheel became a precious treasure to me. We'd only just married days earlier. And yet, he had commissioned it for me without even knowing what I looked like. I was filled with a warm, pleasant elation. I agreed with the owner. Jacopo was not a bad man. He merely had difficulty expressing himself. Hurrying back to the carriage, I gave him my deepest thanks. He glanced over me for a moment, and then turned back toward the window and muttered, "Yeah." From there, we went to a restaurant for dinner.
Jacopo?
You call this a pizza? This crust is an atrocity. It's like I'm chewing on rubber. How can you wave my country's flag and not serve spaghetti? Do you have any shame at all? This wine is pitifully unbalanced. Far too high levels of acidity. Listen to me carefully. The house wine is the face of a restaurant.
He complained about every little thing. It was a complete disaster. But curiously enough, I was not at all put off by his behavior. When the sun set, the carriage made its way to a nearby hill. The cool nighttime breeze felt wonderful on my skin, flushed from the alcohol, and the light from the gas put a comforting warmth to it. Though Jacopo had complained about the quality of the wine, once he had intoxicated himself, his mood improved visibly. It made him unexpectedly talkative.
Look out at the city. A gloomy town that shuts down its lights at night isn't suited to expansion or growth. But this city isn't like that. You can see people walking beneath the lamps, and you can hear the bustle of them talking. This is a city that has plenty of room to grow. And they ride the rising wave of the economy. Many more people will gather here. More people means more money in circulation. More money in circulation means the city grows. Companies are founded, and more goods are bought and sold.
Will it really change so drastically?
It can be difficult to see what's happening from the inside. The majority of people just go about their lives daily, and the next thing they know, things are different. No, I'd wager most don't notice the changes at all. Only those with eyes sharp enough to realize what's happening can see success. I cannot afford to overlook even the most minute change.
Do you have a dream of some kind?
A dream? I'm not sure if it's easy enough to attain to call it dream. Others might call it greed, or perhaps ambition. Don't laugh now. My intention is to make the world mine.
The world?
Yes, the world. And to do that, you need neither physical strength nor kindness, but money and influence. People have no choice but to kneel before those forces.
Why are you so intent on obtaining power?
Because I want to change my country, I imagine.
Your country?
You are aware that I, like you, am an immigrant, right? I emigrated from an island in the Mediterranean. though not the same island as you. My country is a peculiar place, where candor and violence go hand in hand. As a whole, the country is on the poor side, and if nobody does anything about that, well, I am one but a few of my fellow countrymen who has set his sights on the New World. They are falling far behind other nations. If I find success here, perhaps that will catch their attention. But if it doesn't, then my country is doomed to collapse.
The stream just froze for me.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, for me too. I can't see anything.
Uh-oh. Okay,
All right.
it's back.
Dang it, now I'm getting that
Love
connected to the station network thing again.
Jacopo. Okay. You have much love for your homeland.
My feelings are a little more complicated than mere love. But that's nothing you need to concern yourself with. Well, I'll have to remember not to get myself drunk around a woman again. Forget everything I just said. It's about time we head back to the house.
Alright, but
What is it?
is it alright if I provide you encouragement as you try to attain your dream? I know my presence is more likely to be a hindrance, but I would like to be there to watch as you trek forward.
I suppose. Do as you wish.
Thank you. You have my support then. Darling?
Sent a shiver down my spine, though not an unpleasant one. I'm glad to have you as my partner.
I was, without a doubt, happy then. His smile, things he said, the Fanakis wheel he gave me, they were all undeniably real. And those memories give me the will to wait, for the day things go back to the way they were. They allow me to believe.
Ma, I think.
This is something that actually happened to another maid. She heard a sound in the middle of the night. A sound like dripping water. At first, she thought it was raining, so she looked through the window, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky to cover the stars. Maybe it's a faucet, she thought, so she stepped out of her room and into the corridor. Compared to her room, it was unearthly chilly. The maid regretted not bringing something over to cover herself with. But that didn't make any sense. Normally, the temperature wasn't that much colder outside her room. Her night clothes had always been more than enough for a trip to the lavatory. Wondering what the reason could be, she made her way toward the sound. But then, she realized something. There were no faucets in the direction she was going. Rather, she was headed toward a hall. The mansion where she served had many halls, but this one was off in a far corner of the house, the least used hall of them all. It had a high roof, but not a lot of space, so it was difficult to make good use of. It also had a somewhat heavy air to it, a very curious room. It was the kind of place you might assign someone to clean as part of their hazing. Anyway, when the maid realized the sound was coming from that particular hall, she, as you might expect, let out an uncomfortable sigh. But there might be a leak, and having noticed, she couldn't simply ignore it, you know? So, as much as she hesitated, she pushed open the doors to the hall. There was nobody there, and it didn't look like anything was leaking either. There were no puddles or water stains anywhere to be found, but she could still hear the sound. Drip, drip, getting louder and louder. Slowly stepping further into the room, looking left, then right, then left again, she searched for the source of the sound, coming to a stop in the center of the hall. She stood there still, quiet, and then a chilly spot on the nape of her neck. With a little yelp, she reached back to feel her neck, but it wasn't wet. Confused, she slowly, rarely tilted her head backward. Oh my god! And there hung a bloody skeleton from the ceiling.
Gah!
That's rich! Amazing! Oh my god! You scream like a little girl!
Maria! You little...
My god! Are you men or children? This is my house, and I would rather you didn't talk about it like that. Whose words were those again?
Shut your mouth! How do you know about that? Were you eavesdropping? And just another thing, I do not care for the sort of stupid, fantastical tales you women love to pass around.
Because they scare you. You've never been able to handle anything scary, Jacopo. Whoa, don't glare at me like that. You're gonna destroy my sides.
So, did you come here for the sole purpose of telling me that cheap tripe?
Acting tough after the fact just makes you look like twice as much of a wuss. Well, I mean, I did make up a good half of it, but the maid really did hear a sound in the middle of the night. And it came from the back hall of this very mansion. Did you know? They say it used to be a chapel.
I have no interest in your women's little ghost stories.
Is that so? You sure you're not just scared?
Maria!
Well, that said, the rumors aren't completely unfounded. This is a pretty old mansion and it's had a lot of work done on it. Kind of feels like it's barely holding itself together. Like a big old quilt with pieces from all different time periods. The back hall is one of the oldest patches. There's a huge window on the far end and supposedly there used to be stained glass in it. It was a depiction of an archangel, they say. Such a shame. I wonder when it was broken. If it were still there, I bet it'd be worth a fortune.
I find that hard to believe. First of all, why would anyone put a chapel inside a mansion?
You've got a point, I guess.
Now how about you do some actual work, instead of distracting yourself with all this nonsense?
I do work. But, the other maids can be a bit nasty, you know? Dealing with other women is like walking on grass. Glass, not grass.
Am I to blame for that?
Yep. What if I said you were? Don't give me that look. They're just not fond of me. Simple as that. Nothing you can do about it.
Is that so? Did that pick up? Is everything good?
Yeah, he just said he needs to be right back
Oh, okay.
in the chat.
Oh yeah, I was talking to the madam and she was telling me you used to be quite the gentleman. Were you perhaps actually in love back then? You sure don't act like it, so it's easy to miss. But I guess you're not made entirely out of steel. Just like when you were younger, you're still...
Do not speak of that. The past is not worth remembering. It's unnecessary.
So, to you, the past exists just to be cast aside? Nah, it's not important. You don't want me to talk about it, I won't talk about it. But your wife? Never mind. I'll leave you be. I have to get back to work soon, or I'll be staring down the head mate's arctic smile.
Alright.
If the fancy strikes me, I'll drop by and we can trade more ghost stories.
Maria.
I'm muted again. Wow. What? No ghost stories?
No, not that. I've not forgotten those days. But... no, it's...
I'll be off then.
Alright. If the fancy strikes you, drop by and we can trade something other than ghost stories.
What'd I tell ya? I'll consider it. Goodbye.
God damn it. I can't escape nothing.
Ah, they have grown to be so beautiful. Such a wonderful fragrance. The scent of roses is so calming. I wonder why that is. Would it cause any trouble if I picked one?
Well, hello there. Out for a midnight stroll, are you? Quite the peculiar hobby. Madam,
I cannot spend as much time as I would like outside during the day, so I end up coming out at night. I apologize if I startled you.
Oh no, not at all. There is a chilling, captivating beauty to the sight of your snow-white form, standing there in the moonlit garden.
I would hardly... What are you doing out so late?
I saw a figure through the window. On the slight chance it might be a burglar, I thought it my responsibility to ensure they did not break in. It was also the middle of the night when the grocer's servant broke into their safe. News of that spread quite far. I'm sure you would have heard about it. Oh, but Gamache was in prison some time ago. Dear me, cannot seem to get my head out of the past. Do you intend to give that white rose to someone?
Yes. I was thinking about giving it to my husband. While I expect he has little fondness for such feminine tastes, the scent of flowers has a truly calming effect. He might find it relaxing when he's free from his work.
Oh, is that so? You are very kind-hearted. Speaking of white roses, the rose he meant to give you was the same shade of white.
Oh, he?
But when you touched it, it turned a deep shade of red. There was but a single white rose in the garden, so he was unable to give it to you as he had wished. In its place, he had a decorative rose fashioned for you.
What exactly are you referring to?
Oh dear, do you not remember? Then I am to assume you've forgotten what happened to the rose accessory as well? He was unable to give that to you either. But that time, because you rejected the gift. I'm not criticizing you for that decision, of course. You had a perfectly good reason for not accepting it. Heartbroken from having lost you, he buried the rose in this garden. Over the years, the roses in the garden withered away, and in their place grew a thick, unsightly nest of weeds. Many, many years later, that accessory was dug up by a beast. And curiously enough, it had not a speck of rust on it.
A beast?
You do not remember him either. The foreign man who, through his interaction with you, almost regained his humanity?
I'm sorry. I have no idea what you speak of. The only gift I have ever received from a man is my keys wheel. And furthermore, I've only lived in this mansion for a year. While the garden was not as thriving as it is now, it was certainly not in ruins when I arrived.
Because I'd been taking care of it, yes. But for whatever reason, my hands alone, I was unable to make it into anything quite as splendid as it is now. Once you arrived and began to work on it, however, just look around. You have restored it to its former glory, to the magnificence of the flaxen-haired family's time. I promise, I am not trying to fault you for anything. Now that I think about it, it makes sense that you would not remember. Though you are still you are different than before. Different, though not in the sense that you are a wholly distant person. Tell me, is your name again?
My name is... I don't know yet, but you should already know that. Again?
More proof that you are, indeed, you. Did you know that your current name is pronounced the same as the name of the person you are waiting for?
What are you talking about?
I have met you many times, and I know of your past, of events that transpired long ago.
I'm telling you the truth. I first came to this mansion just a year ago. Until then, I had never left my country, or even set foot out of my house. We did not have any servants either. So where then, you sane?
This mansion, of course.
But I'm telling you the truth. It was a year ago, shortly after my parents fell ill and received an offer. I knew something had to be done. I knew it, I'm telling the truth.
If that is what you remember, then I do not doubt you. But I also suspect I know why you seem so flustered. Are there moments when your memories seem hazy? When it seems like important details have fallen through the cracks? You needn't fret. One day, eventually, you shall remember all. One day. So she